All right, you doing good, buddy?
Yeah.
Ears on. Hold on, you're...
All right, I think he's ready, probably.
All right. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
A researcher who broke the record for longest underwater habitation in the Florida Keys.
It's really about the research and getting people to see that not only can we live in this environment, we should be living in this environment.
Hello, I'm Dr. William E. Morgan, president of Parker University, here with Dr. Joe Dituri, and we're part of a historic event. You're breaking the world record for how long somebody has lived underwater.
That's the intention, but that's only part of it, as you know.
Oh, truly. In our conversations, we've already discovered how many scientific breakthroughs are already occurring. So we at Parker University are really interested in human performance, expanding the human potential, but also to make sure that we have, we promote health rather than treat disease.
Right.
And we were talking a little bit about some of the things that we're interested in. Of course, we talked about, the concept of creating 20 more good years of living, not just 20 more years of life, but really vibrantly good health.
Oh,
and you corrected me.
I think you're undershooting.
Talk to me.
I think you're undershooting. I think humans have the potential to live to 110 good, solid years. Now, you have to start taking care of your brain and your body now. Yesterday, not today. It has to be part of your life. And it's like, oh, well, I can just take a pill every day. Or you can go to the gym, and you can raise nitric oxide synthase, which is one of the smooth muscle mediators, which is going to take care of you downstream when you stand up and old people fall over. They have that vasovagal response.
Orthostatic hypotension. Yeah.
You can fix that by working out, and then you get to that age and you stand up and you don't fall over, and you stand up and you go crush the other kids in the gym. I'm 55 years old, man. I'm still crushing kids in the gym.
Oh, you're a pup. I am too. So it's I got you by 10 years. So in our research, of course, you and I have been friends for years.
Oh yeah.
And here we are, undersea right now, on the ocean depth.
On the ocean floor, baby.
Yeah, these bone-crushing depths.
Bone crushing.
So what do you hope to find by physiologically? There's so many other things we're going to talk about, like drawing attention to ecology and the health of the ocean. But what do you expect to find health-wise?
Well, health-wise. Okay, so health-wise, we know for sure that hyperbaric, more pressure medicine. So we are under pressure. So that means we are in a hyperbaric environment right now. Just so happens that one of the PhD students that I know did a study, and he saw doubling the number of stem cells by just 5 exposures to air at 1.3 partial pressure. Now we're way deeper than that.
So what was it? What was the amount?
1.3 air.
Oh my! So we're talking even mild hyperbaric. Because you and I have had discussions about mild hyperbarics not being that awesome, but you're saying there is a benefit.
But this is why science wins over bullshit every time. You do the science and then you pull the data, and the data speaks. The person doesn't speak. I'm not talking because that's just BS. Data speaks, right? So when you see doubling the number of CD34 plus progenitor stem cells,
you're sold.
Yeah, it's like the money's there. Now, does that mean that it works for everybody? Does that mean that it's perfect? Does that mean that it's turnkey? No, that's not there yet. But you can get between 200 and 800% stem cells. So that's twice to 8 times the number of stem cells.
Now you said exposures. Does that mean 5 days? Do you have to come underwater like this and live for 5 days?
No, you can go to a hyperbaric chamber and just do it for 1 hour a day for 5 days.
With this, 5 exposures, doubling the amount of stem cells. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, stem cells, as you know, they're the ones that, and these are like the wild card stem cells. They're the great stem cells,
Yeah, they can differentiate into anything.
Into anything, right? So it's pretty easy and straightforward. So that notwithstanding, we also know that it lengthens telomeres.
Shut up.
Oh, absolutely. So you know the whole deal with telomeres, right? On the end of the chromosome, you have you love my window, don't you?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? So on the end of the chromosome, you have these little shoelaces. They're basically shoelace binders. And every time you reproduce this chromosome, every time you do a cell reproduction,
you lose one.
You lose one. Boop. It goes away. Boop, 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 boop. When it's gone, you're
dead.
dead.
Yeah.
That's in essence, right? So hyperbarics can lengthen them from between 25 to 33%. So that means, hold on, I got a good idea. Let me just make this longer. If you can lengthen the telomeres, you can extend the ability to reproduce that cell. So is that complete science? No, but it's like everything else. Science is never complete. That's the thing. There is no, we're going to challenge it, then we're going to push it, then we're going to try and change it, then we're going to do more.
It's always it was what we do at Parker University. We rely on the best available evidence.
Right. That's exactly
And
right.
we're always pursuing more. And evidence didn't support mild hyperbarics, but at this point, maybe it does.
It still doesn't for hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Got it.
For getting oxygen. The whole thing about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, as you probably recall, is you transport oxygen via hemoglobin. There's only 4 seats on the hemoglobin bus. Hemoglobin's pretty big. But in hyperbaric therapy, the plasma transports oxygen.
You don't need a heme at that point.
You don't even need hemoglobin. Exactly. So now you're getting it.
You have a clinic in Tampa. When I've been there,
Florida, yep.
You got a TBI not too long ago. How long ago was that?
Yeah, so it was September 7th of 2001. I got T-boned. Knocked out. So I was treating traumatic brain injury one way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got it. I'm smart. I got it. Well, turned out that God said, no, listen to me, son. You have to change your ways. And I said, no, I got it. And then he threw a 6,000-pound SUV at me and said, I said, change your ways, son. And I said, oh.
So it provoked you to learn a little bit.
Provoked me to learn a lot more. So it's not just about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, increasing cerebral perfusion, right? So, that's a good thing when you have a traumatic brain injury. However, you need to treat physically, physiologically, and psychologically simultaneously. And if you don't do that, the body keeps the score. If I hit you in the car this way and I hurt your shoulder and give you a traumatic brain injury, every time you move that shoulder, you get to remember that you have a traumatic brain injury. So you move the shoulder, you have a traumatic brain injury. You move the shoulder, it goes through the vagus nerve. If you don't cure this, if you don't go to a physical therapist at the same time you're going to a psychologist, at the same time you're doing hyperbarics and other things, you are not going to heal. You can't heal this in series. You have to heal it in parallel.
You'd be interested since you visited our campus, we built in the Star in Frisco, Texas. For the Dallas Cowboys are.
Yeah.
We've built our own Parker Performance Institute, and it has a plethora of different modalities in there, from transcranial magnetic stimulation to gyrostim to ocular motor rehab, balance training. We've got by 30 or 40 different pretty high-end modalities, again, to overcome
everything.
Yeah, to increase neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
And like we know that if you have an ACL injury, it affects your brain. Like somebody with an ACL injury, their brain looks different after the injury. And if you don't heal the brain, the knee, they're much more likely to tear it again, even after surgery.
100%. It's like we're going to start treating the body systemically as a whole at some point in our lives. Like doctors are going to start changing their mind because, here we have the one doctor that thinks this way and they go, I know how to cure this. No, you don't. Think holistically.
So I would put, for our clinic, chiropractic with neurology, with hyperbarics.
Yeah.
And then you would put psychology in there too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you don't treat the psychological impact, right? So I was knocked out. I was knocked unconscious. I have no recollection of 20 minutes of time. That's a big thing to socialize while you're flying the plane, trying to assemble the wings when you have a traumatic brain injury, right? So if you don't have somebody treating you from that trauma perspective, you are missing out. You're really missing the opportunity.
So for us, I would throw in there all the things that we've poured resources in and hired the best in the industry to promote neuroplasticity.
Yep.
And then you add additional oxygen to the brain.
Yep.
And you put the psychosocial component to there too.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole package.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's to me, everybody goes, well, what's the answer? And I said, everything. Mm-hmm. Why? Because this guy's about to kill himself. So if he's about to, and I know, and I'll just tell your people, the honest to God truth is this happened on September 7th. I was sitting at my desk, crying uncontrollably, angry like you wouldn't believe. Like I was ready to rip the steering wheel off my car. So I'm trying to rationalize all this, and I'm trying to treat myself because I'm a traumatic brain injury guy and I can fix myself. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I got to the point where I was so demoralized that I was willing to take my own life.
Oh.
So what I did was, and I got despondent. So I see exactly how somebody can get despondent and be like, oh, I see there's no end. Because if there was no end for me and that was my way out, that was not a good way to live.
That's has been in practice for, it's been 37 years. I've seen that. If you give people hope, if they come in even with a back injury, and they know this is as good as it's going to get, they do get despondent. But if you can say you've got like bony edema in there, it's going to last about 6 months to 18 months. Even if it's 18 months, well, I can last that. Mm-hmm. But if they don't know that there's, if it's like, hey, this is it, you got to live with this
forever.
Or
some doctor will say, oh, all you need is a tincture of time. That he literally put his hand on my shoulder and said, all you just need is a tincture of time. And I pulled my shoulder back like that, and I was like, get away from me, man. Don't even talk to me. Like, but when there's a person's life at stake, what do? The answer is everything. Everything that you can do. So I threw the entire kitchen sink in it. And everybody's like, oh, well, did you try this? I said, yes. Did you try that? Yes. Did you hop up and down on one leg? Yeah, I did that because I wanted to get better.
Well, as a PhD, as a scientist, you understand you want to take out all the variables. Yeah. In science, you take out all the variables and you try that thing to see what that is. But when it's you don't want you want everything. You don't care which one of the 100.
Which one works more, better. So I'm going to ask you a question. Here's a plant. It's dying. What's wrong with it? You say, oh, it needs water. This guy says, oh, it needs sunlight. This guy, oh, it needs food. Okay, well, I'm a researcher, right? In the research mind, I expose it to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sunlight. What happens?
It dies.
It dies. And then we go, what's my conclusion? Sunlight kills plants. Wait a minute. And you do the same thing for water, and then you do the same thing for food. And you go, food, water, and sunlight kill plants. And you can very authoritatively say that in a double-blind, randomized, controlled study, and it will kill the plant every time. You need a combination of psychological, physiological, and physical repair on the body at the same time. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Got it. So your clinic, I've been there. When I visited, there was your hard shell tanks, but then also there's a rehab facility adjoining. So are you guys mixing it up together now?
Yeah, so we mix that together. So one of those, our guys go down there. And see, the thing is, if you bring somebody in, I bring somebody in and they do 8 hours of treatment with me per day, every day.
8 hours at pressure, 8 hours, no, an hour with you, and then they do.
No, so like I bring every provider in. The psychologist comes in, they see him for an hour. Then we schedule the next thing is the life coach. And to call this guy a life coach is ridiculous because he's he's an MD who's an emergency room attending physician who really wants to change the way we do medicine. So this guy comes in and teaches compensatory behavior for those with traumatic brain injury. Here's your list making methodology. Here's how to recover from your stigmatism.
We find occupational therapists are the experts in that, but keep going.
Well, exactly. So, but it's not that. It's all of those little habits that come that you can compensate for your traumatic brain injury. Then, everything's scheduled, rack stacked, but you're with me in my facility for 8 hours a day. And I don't make you go, oh, here, go to the chiropractor here, go to the physiologist here, go to this guy here, the hyperbarics is over here, and then come. So if you come to my clinic, you stay for 8 straight, for 5 days a week for the entire month.
Wow.
And then you walk out and look at the testimonials. Just look at the testimonials. One of the football players that was in our program was like 14 days into the program. Michael. He's like, I'm ready to put the cleats back on. I'm like, Mike, you're 44 years old. You are not Tom Brady, bro. So you cannot get back out there. He's like, I feel like $1 million. Let's go. And I'm like, okay, let's go slow. Just don't hurt yourself. And the veterans are like, look, you saved my life. You saved my life. And then I went out to a concert this weekend and I saved 3 people's lives. So it's like, you're paying this forward and paying it forward and paying it forward. And all of a sudden, we're going to start changing the number from 22 down, please. I hope,
Yeah.
But you address it like you want to just knock it down, and we will.
We do a similar treatment at Parker Performance Institute where they come in for, if they're TBI, they come in for a 2-week intensive.
Yeah.
Certain other conditions, strokes, they may come in a longer stretch, but not as many intensive hours.
Sure.
And what we do is we have certain things that are highly stimulating, and then they have sedating therapies that relax it because it's exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
It's exhausting, and they sleep well at night. So we bring people up near our facility and they do that. So, but we're very interested in adding hyperbarics to this.
Well, so think about it. People go, well, why do you do it for 28 days? Well, why do you do anything for 28 days? It's habit forming.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the habit of going to the gym and working out? No. I'm talking about the habit of your body remembering how to make brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So everybody's like, well, why should it be a month long? Why should it be a month long? I said, well, because that's how long it takes your body to remember how to do the things that it has been doing but forgot, right? So I'm pushing this thing. I'm pushing that time from a reasonable scientific assumption, which is we got to remember our body to do the things that it used to be able to do. So that's my approach. I don't know what the right approach is. This seems to work.
And brain-derived neurotrophic factor is like fertilizer for nerve growth and for neuroplasticity. So it's something that really helps your brain to heal.
Yeah.
So we do want that. And the things, exposure to pressure, more oxygen, less oxygen, cold, heat, exercise, all these things to enhance
brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor. When I was up there waiting to come dive down here, there were some scientists, marine biologists are finding something in the fish. Now, you might not know about this. So we all know that omega-3 is really good for brain health.
Yeah.
They're finding drugs in all the fish around here. High blood pressure medicine, birth control, Viagra, barbiturates, all sorts of things. They come out of the sewage system and they somehow stay in the water and they get into the fish, which is part of our food supply.
Yep.
How's that going to affect people's health? But also, it's why you're here to draw attention to marine biology and saving the planet.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So I just had a sponge researcher down here, and she found what she believes to be a new species of sponge. So there are about 10,000 species of sponge, and she's working on a new one, which is really cool. But sponges are great because they filter water. They live in a really adverse environment. They can't get up and move. They're anchored to the bottom or wherever they happen to be. So all they can do is filter the water around it and get rid of it and get rid of the impurities. So they are really good at doing that. So what we want to do is learn every lesson from the sponge. Do you know that like acyclovir comes from a sponge?
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that how we discovered it?
Yeah, it's derived from a sponge. Literally, they pulled it out of a sponge, started making that protein, and they said, yeah. I was like, I learned that from her. I was like, this is what I'm learning when I'm down here. I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing. But there are so many research things going on that can be derived from things in the sea. Why aren't we looking in the ocean? Why aren't we looking everywhere around our planet to find the species that are on our planet?
So you're thinking God put everything we need here on the planet?
I'm not thinking. I have proof. I'm saying this is the hypothesis is that I believe everything is here. You have yin, you have yang. You have dark, you have light. You have disease, you have cure. It's here. It's an enclosed ecosystem, right? So if it's enclosed, everything is needed. Now let's just say that the cure for Lou Gehrig's disease is in a triceratops. That's gone. It's extinct. We cannot pull the DNA off it. We can't synthesize it. We can't figure it out. We'll have to start from ground zero. But if we had every one of those things in the world, between about 20 million things on the planet, species of things. So if we can find those 20 million things, and by the way, we found about 5 million things so far.
So many things we're worried about losing in the rainforest, but also the ocean has it's being depleted as we're seeing the wetlands, the coral reefs, and the kelp forests shrinking. That's where most of the fisheries is used for spawning.
Oh yeah, and we get what, 50 to 70% of our oxygen on this planet from the ocean? Wait, and we're gonna throw this thing away in the ocean? Wait, no, probably that's a bad idea.
No, probably is. So you know that William Shatner recently went into space with Bezos's space shot. And when he went to space, he came back, and here he is, Captain Kirk, kind of sad because when he gets out there, he looks out at this vast universe. It's all dead. I mean, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. It's endless. there's only one ball of life in the whole known universe, and we're racing to kill it.
Yeah, we're racing to kill it. Oh my God, that's horrible.
And so he got kind of sad. It's like it's interesting to go out there, but it's generations to reach the next star. But right here, if we lose this, that means life in the universe becomes extinct.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that.
No,
So getting into space, this much reminds me of the space station. It's a very small space.
100%.
So we visited, I have a friend of mine that's now the head of NASA, let us go down to their Human Performance Center. And they're trying to overcome the barriers to having people live in space and travel to Mars and back. Mm-hmm. And of course, the biggies are osteoporosis, osteopenia, social isolation, and food. They can't make artificial gravity. Are you finding, because you talked about stem cells being reproduced, at pressure, is there a possibility that could help you overcome osteoporosis and sarcopenia?
So what we need to do is we need to increase osteoblast production, and osteoblast production comes from impact. So what we need to do is impact.
Okay.
So that's the kind of stuff that we're literally working on here. So I just reach on over here and talk about this kind of a thing. So you know about these
blood flow restriction?
Blood flow restriction, right? Yeah. So what's good about this? This increases nitric oxide synthase. Remember we talked about that earlier this afternoon, and we look and we see if I can increase mitochondrial health, mitochondrial swelling, and nitric oxide synthase, I can direct blood to where it needs to go to repair the muscle. And we're working out with resistance bands here, just like they are on the International Space Station. So they're not exactly the same, but they're similar. And here we are doing resistance type training, and we're seeing if we can actually build muscle in this atmosphere instead of lose muscle.
So with blood flow restriction therapy, you can use it every day. So you don't have to worry about the recovery.
Yeah.
And also, you can use only 15% of your maximum effort to get the same result. So it's almost like steroids, but it's very similar to steroids for muscle synthesis.
Yeah.
It also helps bone growth.
Exactly.
So when we were visiting NASA, they were really big on force plates and pulling against, but it's not impact. But even with that, even with exercising for 2 hours a day, muscle mass, bone mass is just depleting at a rapid rate. Yeah. So to go to deep space, something needs to be done. I'm wondering, would you consider that they would use a combination of blood flow restriction, maybe take them and when they're going to Mars, they might go on a series of dives. Would you pressurize them?
Blood flow restriction and a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, so, more so than more than ambient, more than the 14.7 pounds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The problem is, from an engineering standpoint, it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. Because getting mass to space is difficult and costly, number one. And then making your spacecraft not just hold from 1 atmosphere on the inside to 0 atmospheres on the outside, but now to 2 atmospheres on the inside and 0 atmospheres on the outside.
So you have to have it pretty thick.
It's going to be thick, which thick equals heavy. Heavy equals a lot of money.
Got it.
So this is not an easy problem to solve. And then plus, now you have electricity in a hyperbaric facility. Bad things happen. Spark, arc, blow up. Oh, goodness, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't even started addressing, progressive myopia, which happens when, look, man, these submariners will go underway for 90 straight days. And when they come back in, the Navy guys, right? When they come back in, we go, listen, you're not driving for a couple of days because you now have only looked 15 feet at the maximum. Why do you see 20/20? Because you see an object that's 20 foot away like it's 20 foot away. When your vision is shortened to 14, 17, 15 feet, you now have myopia. Now you're not so good at. So wait, let me get this straight. We're going to send people that are bone depleted, muscle depleted, and blind. We're going to go explore Mars. But wait, what?
But also 20% of these astronauts have a change in the shape of their eyeball.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, it changes, and it doesn't recover. I have a son who's a submariner too, but you're right. If you're here, so one of the things, actually, we have 2 modalities, more than that actually, at our Parker Performance Institute for addressing ocular motor tone. Mm-hmm. And basically, well, you've worked with special ops too. So there's that far near reflex.
Yeah, the switch.
You want to switch. So if you see a target, and then if you're a special op guy, you want to focus on your front sight before you pull the trigger. Yeah. Far near. If you're Tom Brady, you're looking for the receiver. You're also looking at the people rushing in on you. That makes you athletic. those are things you can actually train. Those are things we can enhance your neuroplasticity with some of our modalities and do the
100%.
ocular motor therapy for that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's everything. Our docs will take a look and just like, here's the deal: is your eyes are good or your eyes aren't good,
Right.
and your balance is good or you're at balance. So we find your deficits. Here's what we need to get you better.
Right.
We had one person came in. She had a TBI. She couldn't read. She said, when I read, I can't remember anything. And she thought and the words are all disjumbled. So she thought that she was dyslexic. It was all over the place. Well, our doctors put her in one of our devices, could read basically, could analyze her eye motions and convergence. Found out she had a convergence problem. So instead of converging on the words, one eye was across in it. They had her do some simple exercises so they converge together. She's I'm like very short amount of treatment.
So it's actually very systemic to have that sort of a problem. And the reason why I have these glasses is because there are prisms in them. And what they do is they bring my eyes together, because I had the strabismus surgery when I was young. So when I had the strabismus surgery, I used to see 1.5 of you, right? So now your nose is here, your nose is here, right? I used to do that. Well, my eyes compensated. That compensatory action in your brain, once you get hit in the head, it's no longer there. So we went back to these, which is now bringing my... I'm reading scholarly papers, and I'm reading the first line with my left eye, the second line with my right eye, the first line with my left eye again, the second line with my right eye. And I'm like, why can't I get through this paper? So now I'm like, really, you want to say angry? Now I'm angry. I can't even do the one thing that I'm supposed to do, which is read papers. So yeah, I started working with these. So yeah, when I read, I have to have them on.
But it's interesting, the Navy lets you be a diver after that surgery.
Oh, well, the strabismus surgery was common to most kids. I mean, we're talking about 5th grade, 4th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where your eyes they don't track together.
Yeah.
So here we have a university. We have 34 different majors. We're trying to anticipate what the world is going to need in the future.
Oh yeah.
And you're an expert in human performance and in physiology. What should I be looking at? What should we be training what majors should I look for? What should we train the people now to anticipate the next 40 years of healthcare profession?
This is great, because this is exactly what I'm working on. So what I need is really smart people that know the mechanism of action of whatever it is that they're applying. Because everybody's like, oh, well, I want to use this drug. I want to do this. I want to do that. Tell me what the mechanism of action of that drug is. And then we can find a replacement that's not a drug.
Bam.
And then, you see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
people that are smart and can think differently than drug company says do this. Oh, it's peer-reviewed, double-blind, 420,000 people have done it, so therefore it must be okay. No, I don't care.
And the most common drugs for neurological conditions like Neurontin actually impede
I know.
plasticity. Oh, they put you on them, I could tell.
No, they tried to put me on. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I said, do you know that impedes neurological function? They're like, oh, you just don't understand. I'm like, really? Explain it to me. And then they start going, and I'm like, know what I do for a living.
Yeah, look at the research. Well, if you listen to the drug reps rather than read the research, what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. And that's the problem. But and I don't fault the MDs, because they're being sold a bill of goods.
Mm-hmm.
They're being sold a bill of goods that this is the right way to treat people. Why? Because MDs are run by big pharma.
Whoa.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I said that. I don't care.
Well,
I don't have a medical opinion. I have a freaking educated opinion.
Brilliant. I love it. I love these conversations,
Yeah.
Joe.
Sorry.
Oh, no. We're lockstep, man. So the deal is it easier to just write Neurontin, or I need you to commit to coming in for 28 days.
Yeah.
8 hours a day.
No.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Patient compliance, right?
Compliance.
Everybody's like, I'd rather take a pill.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is train people who
Out
don't
of that.
and be able and probably to change the world. Like these conversations that we want to get out there, we need to get this message out.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's educating the patients.
Yeah.
It's like you give up on the doctors, educate the patients.
Right.
That your body has everything it needs to heal itself if you take care of it. Nutrition, sleep, oxygen.
Yep.
healthy relationships.
I say this stuff all the time. Hyperbaric oxygen doesn't cure anything. It gives your body the tools it needs to help heal itself in a time of crisis. That's it. If hyperbaric oxygen is a stopgap for anything, and you should not need it every week, it's not once a week for the rest of your life. It's not once a day forever. It's once a day for a period of 20 straight days or something like that.
So you put yourself in the chamber every week?
No way.
Why would you not?
No, why would I? Why would I? So I go, okay, what do I need right now?
Mm-hmm.
And what you probably need more of is the ability to breathe correctly. You probably need the ability to meditate through things. You probably need nutrition. You probably need maybe, we sample some blood and we go, okay, you're low on this amino, you're not producing this. Let's get your body to start producing that. That's the kind of stuff that you need on a regular. But if there's something that you got to take every day, I would caution anybody to think against taking something every day because...
So part of our 110-year life cycle,
Yeah.
and I want my telomeres to get longer.
Yeah, baby.
So should I come in on a regular basis to get those telomeres lengthened with treatment?
No. So if you come in for 60 treatments, and I want to say, I don't remember the exact number. I think it's 30 on, which is a month and a half. 30 on, and then you take a month off, and then you come back for another 30 on, which is another month and a half. So it's about a 4-month protocol. At the end of that, you have between 25 and 33%. Now, how much more do you need than that? Oh, look, I don't know. I don't know is the answer.
We have every student who comes to our school sign our mission statement. It's patient-centered. What's right for you, not what's right for me.
Oh, 100%.
Evidence-based.
Yes.
That we're treating you to be evidence-based.
Yeah.
It's not what other people said years ago. It's what is the evidence base? And the last one is be collaborative, work with other professions. That is the
100%.
model that we pursue.
See, that's the right kind of doctor that I want to see in the world.
Thank you for joining me today.
My brother.
And you've been listening to Dr. Joe Dituri, and this is Parker University.